All right, guys. So here we go with the one of the subscribers that has a great question. I never thought about it, and I definitely gotta discuss this question. So, and this is ABU98. Holla at you, my friend. Good thinking. I never thought about it because let me just read the question first. It says, well, what a decent non-stealth bomber setup can I do, right? And he goes, I have been looking at a hot motors, but the dropout's 150 millimeters on the HAPS, which is way too bigger than a normal frame. And what would I recommend? It's funny that you actually have looked at it that way because when I was building my bike, I wasn't looking at the frame, at the dropouts. I wasn't looking at none of that. I was just going blinded into the situation. And lucky me, everything I pretty much copycat every guy on YouTube that was building a stealth bomber, which was Chinese frame and the motorcycle hubs and color today. But I didn't notice that. So I also have my other build, which was 1,000 watts, and it was the bottom end. And then I went extreme, and I got the bomb stealth bomber build, right? But there's that sweet middle, which you just mentioned, okay? And I personally never thought about it, and I think it would be a great idea locally, excuse me, around the city. So now I already answered a question to this young man, okay? So he knows what I think, but I would definitely like to shoot a video because this is that sweet middle. It's not low end bike. It is not high performance bike. But it could be considered if you want to, and it's just like right in the sweet middle. So first of all, you gotta. So let's start with a frame. You gotta pick a frame that is most likely steel, okay? Because you're gonna have enough power, but you also want that frame to be strong. So aluminum kind of goes out of the window because they get ripped in 2 seconds. So I would go with a steel, okay, or try to reinforce the rear dropouts at a welding shop, okay, metal shop. They can very easily do that. Um, but let's say you don't have the capability of going to a shop and getting it done or whatever it is, right? So we want to go for a steel frame, right? Nice and sturdy. It would be nice if definitely extra large frame, no matter how big you are, because you're gonna have to squeeze your battery somewhere, right? Um, that's what I'm saying. These Super 73s, their frame is beautiful because it's so big. However, I did shoot a video, a lookalike 70 Super 73 for dirt cheap money, and that frame would be excellent. However, I'm not sure if you want pedals or not. But let's just say you want pedals, so that thing goes out of the window, right? So the next thing is, uh, I would recommend to get a uh, a fat tire frame. But let's say fat tire frame is not 150 millimeter dropout. Let's say it's bigger, so we don't want to go there because I don't know what they are. They might be 165, whatever it is. But let's say you go with the regular frame, right? Well, you got to really pay attention for the belly of the frame, the triangle where the battery is gonna go. Now, that's well. Why am I saying the belly of it? Okay, so what I'm thinking is I'm thinking, and let me do the math really quick, and I already did it for you on the YouTube, right? So I'm recommending for your build 1,500 watt motor, which peaks out at about 2,000 or so. It'll handle 30 miles an hour, no problem whatsoever, right? And I'm also I'm saying to get a 50 amp controller, right? So the way you check your power is pretty much your and 60-volt battery. I So you have 1,500 watt motor. I would I would love for you to get the 20-inch rim, okay? A fat tire is totally fine. Why am I saying a fat tire or anything oversized, right? Like 2.5 or whatever? Because you're going to pinch your tire way too much and too often. So it has to have some sort of shoe when you go, over things, even the sidewalks. Like I gone over a sidewalk and it was gone. It was finished. It was 1.95 inch tire. So I kept getting flats left and right with my first build, which I hated it so much because there was no fun in riding on a bike. It just flats, 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 right? So 20-inch fat tire. Anything, the maximum I would want you to go, it would be 3-inch. Now, if that's not doable, all right, be with the 4. But that already brings the weight, and you don't want the weight. So now you have steel frame, and now you have the weight. So you can pick a regular, not a necessary 20-inch tire, but you could squeeze in the 3-inch tire. To be honest with you. So think about it. These are things that you got to think about. Okay, if you must go for 4-inch, never go for 5. For 4-inch, pick very, very light rear wheel hub, right? When I say light, I'm saying even those funny looking tires with those bubbles inside. Those rims, they just cut them out so there's less weight. Something like that. But the problem is rear hub motors. You can't cut them out because they got to be really strong. So I will go with the 20 and a 4. All right, 20-inch and a 4 width. That's what I would do. But these are other things that you might, face. So you have 20 by 4, nice brushless motor, 1500 watt, peaks out at about 2000 very easily, very nicely, without overheating. Okay, you're gonna use a 60-volt battery. Why 60? 48 is too little. 52 is like, I'm almost there. Now 60 is pretty decent because I think top charge on the 60 is like actually 68 volts, which is close to 72. So for quite some time, you're gonna have that speed and that torque that you require on demand. That doesn't mean you continuously are going to be doing 30 miles an hour or something like that, right? So, and of course, 60 is not as popular as 72. So 72 volt price for battery is going to be over exaggerated, you're going to overpay. Where 60, nobody cares about 60 because why should I buy 60 if I can go 72 or 94, So 60 is very good, not expensive. There is a eBay seller sells. I could have had bought for $600. It was 60 volts, 60 amp hours. Okay, with 60 amp hours, you can do 100 miles, no problem whatsoever. Okay, that's going extreme, especially on the setup that you want to do, right? So now, how much are we gonna push on the controller, right? So I originally said on your Facebook, on your YouTube that I think you should go with 50. You're not gonna be using 50, but why am I saying 50? Okay, so if you can get 30, that's kind of like continuously working at a peak performance on your controller, and I don't like that. Okay, so let's say if I can bench press 300 pounds, right, maximum, I'm not going to bench press 300 pounds continuously throughout the whole day because I'm gonna get exhausted, right? So if I go to, let's say, 200 pounds, I can do that all day. If I go at 300 pounds, I can do it maybe for half an hour and call it a day. So we don't want to stress the system, right? So let's say you take your 60 volts, right? And let's say your controller can operate at 50, but you're going to set it at 30. And this is just a number that I've done again on the YouTube. Times 30 will equal 1800 watts. All right, so there's your 1800 watts. And all you do when you're pulling 30 amps. Now, how does that work? How does that benefits you on a bike? So your controller has 50 amp, and let's say it only has 30 amp. Let's just say you couldn't get nothing else, right? But you could get a controller that is not huge and is still is capable of pushing out 50 amps, right? Now, I do not suggest you to set the bike or the controller at 50 amps because that's already given us 3000 watts, okay? And that motor will freaking melt. So again, if you see 60 volts multiplied by 50, okay, it's 3000 watts. You also have to be careful because if you have 68 volts multiplied by 30, that's already going to be big. So you gotta kind of be careful, right? Because let's say top charge is 68. Let's just say, because I'm not sure what that is, right? Times 30 amps is 2004. Okay, 2004. So that means it's close to like continuous operation I mean, they say 1500 watt will operate continuously at 1500 watts, but again, they undergraded because of the laws, local laws, and locations and all that. Like class one, class two, class three, all that crap. Um, but if let's say, that 68 volts is going to last for a couple of miles, and I just say, don't go a crazy uphill, just flat or whatever. But you got to be, you got to consider it that it is that high. But again, so 60 volts times 30, okay, equals 1800 watts, right? That's 1800 watts. So your motor will operate at 1500 watts continuously, no problem, no questions asked. At 300 watts don't really make any difference, right? So you have a great setup, okay? And I will go with that. And you will go 30 miles no problem all day. And again, the way I specified the battery, I think you should go with at least 30 amp hour battery, 60 volts. They're not that expensive. You just have to have, I think you should make a custom battery box and have it that way. So your battery is like really, really important, right? So I went with the extreme and I got the 50 amp 72 watt battery, right? I mean 72 volt battery. Every time I talk, my throat gets dry. I don't understand why, right? So now if I let's say go 30 miles an hour with my bike, I would easily do 80 miles. That's not a problem. But again, I appreciate that you even mentioned it because I never even thought about it. And I think you are going to be better off. See, I would love to build that bike in the middle, right? But unfortunately, my usage on a bike is mostly roads. So with the and I'm in New York City. There's lots of people that just love to go crazy on the streets like in California. Um, but the build I just told you, I think that's a great build for you. And remember, the higher you go on the battery, I mean the higher capacity, the more comfortable you're going to be with the bike. And it also really depends what is going to be your distance. What do you want? Are you in suburbs? Are you in a city? And try to find out what's the longest distance you want to do. Because if you want to go out on a weekend and you want to do a 50-mile trip to, let's say, some sort of camping camp, and you're gonna have the possibility of charging the bike at a camp for the following day, then you're looking at the distance that you want to travel. If you just want to travel locally, whatever 10, 15, 20 miles, then you don't really need a huge battery. And the difference between average battery and a huge battery is like maybe 10 pounds in difference. So it's not really big deal. And remember, probably battery you buy every 3 or 5 years. So if you get small battery, you're gonna deal with it for next 3 years to 5 years. If you buy the top capacity battery that you need, you're gonna be better off. I really didn't go with a brand name, but it was a eBay big company selling it, and I took it out a couple of times, and it performs really well. I'm very happy. These aren't cells. This is one Parallel and 20S. So these are leaves actually from a apparently Leaf Nissan car. That's where they install them, and I'm very happy. And I'm happy that I actually bought the battery. Again, for my battery, I paid like $1,100, and it was 72 volts, 50 amp hour. It was just pure rectangle, and I did not need measurements. I said I will buy a battery, and that battery I'm going to customize it to my frame. So I wasn't customizing the frame to the battery. I was customizing the battery to the frame, right? So in other words, if let's say the battery was getting too big, I would change the frame cut, trim, weld, whatever I can do in order to build that battery into the frame. So it wasn't a problem. But anyway, it's already 15 minutes. I hope this video helps. It's a great idea to go that way. I really like that idea. The sweet in the middle. You don't have a heavy frame. But again, I don't suggest fat tire 4 inch. I do suggest a 3 inch. Uh, so at least I would do 2.5. A 3 inch looks very sweet. I tell you that right now. Excuse me. And there's lots of frames that you can buy and stick a 3 inch in there, and a 1500 watt kit. Now, if you guys want a video where I can show you where you can find all these parts. I mean, look, there's this eBay. It's just there are sources in the eBay. There are sellers that are very serious about the business, and there are sellers that really don't care. So if you want some legit companies, I can provide it. I can screen record that on eBay. Um, there are I wouldn't suggest to go out and buy it from Alibaba because you're really not gonna save much. Again, unless you're getting a QS motor, a 5,000 or 12,000 or 8,000, then yeah, you'll save some money because locally it's ridiculously expensive. But if you want to get a 1500 watt 20 inch motor, that's not a problem. And you might ask me, why 20 inch? Why not 26? Why not 24? So the reality is, the smaller the wheel, the better torque you get, and of course the bike doesn't sit so high. Um, I think 20 is pretty decent. So if, let's say, there's already an existing frame that you can stick a good sized battery, I will go for that. But of course, again, those bikes, the battery case holding has to be custom made, and these are very important thing. I've seen people do it, bungee cords, and I mean, it look horrible. Something in the back attached, they look horrible. I don't, no, no, that's not a build. That is not a build. Um, there's got to be a different way of doing it. I was thinking about the ammunition backs for my bike, but I have a rack component for a self storage box that I can put in the back, and the 30 amp 72 volts battery I'm looking at, it'll fit straight right into it. And it's about 30 pounds, so it's kind of heavy. I don't want to put that additional weight, so I'm going to check this season if I can travel to the furthest point of my destination, which is about 20-25 miles away, which again on my battery full throttle I can do 44. So it doesn't look like I might need the second battery. So that would be really great. But again, kind of battery flopping around in the back of your bike, where the gravity is really, really high instead of very low, it's going to be very difficult for you to maneuver around and lay the bike to the left or to the right on the turns. So you got to be very, kind of concerned about that. That's why I said don't build the bike too high. I mean, unless you're 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", you got to use the the probably 26 inch wheels. But if you're 5'8" and you put 20 inch tire in the back and in the front, I think it's going to be a great build. It's going to be sturdy. It's going to be heavy duty. You're not going to catch flat tires all the time, and you're going to be good. Again, if I put 24 in the back, that's going to be awesome because that's where most of the weight is. In the front, you can get a freaking a wheel from a freaking regular teenager's bike that is 20 by whatever by 2. Doesn't really have to be. I mean, again, I would go with 3, but it doesn't have to be crazy. Look, you use your imagination. That's all I'm going to say. Whatever thing it's sturdy and it's heavy duty and it's for your needs, go with that. I think it's a great idea what you just mentioned. Okay, it's a great build. I wish you the best. You definitely got to come around to the to my channel and share pictures, videos when you build it, folks. Whatever bikes you've built and we have talked about, and I kind of helped you out, give you an answers. I had another subscriber that had a problem with a short circuit with the wire fried. I think it was Racer X or whoever it was. I don't remember, but that's what it was. He had an issue, and I told him step by step what to do. He fixed it in less than 20 minutes. So that's thankful. Hopefully, we'll get a video from him. You definitely can put a link below and show us your video, and I can, if you don't mind, I can screen record it and share it on my channel. Discuss of the build, discuss about the build. See where maybe you can improve it or you can upgrade it. Would it be necessary? Is it needed? That kind of thing. There's always room for upgrade. There's always room for improvement for any build, even my build. A perfect build. There's no perfect build, And we always aim in this channel. We always aim for perfection. A perfect build. And again, our perfection one day is going to become a 100% performance machine, and that's our goal. Right now, I'm at the point where I almost have a perfection, and I'm very happy. And the season is coming. Yesterday, today was extremely cold, so kind of awkward. But starting next week, it's going to get nice and warm. So hopefully that $7 gallon of gas is going to stay in my pocket. That's $7, and I'm going to be riding on my bike with a big ass smile, and I'm going to enjoy it. All right, folks. So until then, I've been yapping for 20 minutes, on and on and on. But again, anybody could reach out and shoot a question, ask a question. I love those questions because it just purely opened up my mind. And probably my next bike when I build it, it's going to be probably that middle suite. Not too many people that I know, or too many clients want a bike like that. They either want a very low budget, bike, again with good performance, or a very high end. And when I tell them, listen, if you put that 8,000 or 12,000 watt motor, you're looking at a battery for about $2,000. So make a decision. The higher you go in the power, the more it costs. So again, I have the 72 top build with required normal performance. I not pushing crazy amps. I'm not abusing the battery. It's not cooking. The motor's not cooking. Everything is nice and steady. All right. It's supposed to be a commuter right now with the $7 a gallon, prices. All right. I'm out of here because I'm exhausted. I'm probably killing you guys. All right. So make sure you build your perfection and you show it on this channel. Take care.